Hi there everyone and welcome to Tech Cravers. So finally the missing piece from the mini handheld puzzle of 2024 has arrived, the Miyoo A30. This handheld device not only boasts an incredible stylish retro-inspired Game & Watch design, but it also packs a surprising amount of performance. It can handle your old favorites including games from the N64 and PSP library. In fact, this might be the most portable way to enjoy some Mario Kart 64 on the bus to work or school. And in today's video we'll unbox this device and discuss what you get when you order it. I'll also share my thoughts on what I like and dislike about it. With Anbernic consistently releasing impressive handhelds, could this be the ultimate mini handheld? Let's find out. The handheld comes delivered in a case, which is always very appreciated. Even though I don't always carry my handheld in cases, it feels a bit more premium and provides a perfect protection for any trips I might have. The handheld I have here was sent to me by today's sponsor, my friends over at LitNXT, and it came with a 64GB card loaded with games. But I don't think that's included as standard. But don't worry, I will go through the different purchasing options in just a bit. Inside the case you'll also find a USB-C to 3.5mm cable, which you will need if you want to use headphones while playing. While Bluetooth would have been preferable, it would likely have increased the price as well. Additionally, we have a USB-A to USB-C charging cable and a quick start guide in both Chinese and English. But as always, the most interesting part is of course the handheld itself. And I must say, I really like the retro aesthetic that Miyoo have achieved with the A30. The nostalgic design takes me back to the golden age of gaming. While I have seen people who aren't as fond of this design, it was my first choice when LitNXT asked me which color I wanted for this review. And the attention to detail in its design really sets it apart in the crowded market of handheld consoles. But a crowded market of consoles also means a crowded market of sellers. It's actually quite difficult to pin down exactly what this handheld costs and what you get when you order it. On AliExpress alone, apart from the Miyoo official store where you can buy it for $58 without any games, there are numerous other stores selling it for less, often with games included. How that equation adds up, I don't know, but this is where third-party resellers like today's sponsor, LitNXT, come in handy. They provide clarity and reliable options for purchasing this device. And from their online store you can buy the Miyoo A30 in 4 different color variants. The red one I have here, as well as a white, black and grey version. They offer the option to purchase the device with or without games. If you have seen my other reviews, you know that I always recommend using your own SD cards with your own game dumps. And in addition to being a reliable seller with great customer support, LitNXT also offers 10% off your Miyoo A30 order using the code provided on their site. I'll include a link to it in the video description. When you start your Miyoo A30 for the first time, it only takes a few seconds for it to launch, and the device comes with Miyoo's own firmware, which by no means is bad, but it leaves something to be desired. I'll revisit this point later in this review. But as for a device that you can start up and begin playing on right away, you can definitely do that. It's a straightforward process to get into your games and start enjoying the handheld experience. Some of you are probably wondering what's inside the A30, so let's just very briefly go through that. It features an all-winner A33 CPU, half a gigabyte or 512MB of RAM, a 2.8-inch IPS screen with the resolution of 640 by 480, built-in Wi-Fi and a 2600 mAh battery. These specifications contribute to its performance and functionality as a handheld gaming device. I mentioned earlier that this year has seen the rise of mini handhelds, with both the Miyoo A30 and the Anbernic RG28XX being released almost simultaneously. Both Anbernic and Miyoo are known for producing extremely popular handhelds, so it's no coincidence that I'm comparing these devices side by side here. And truth be told, it's hard to find any significant differences in terms of the size of these consoles. Both are extremely compact and can easily fit in the pocket of your pants or a jacket. But I'm not gonna let you sit there and think that there's no difference at all between these handhelds, because there is. However, most of the differences are on the front. As you can see, Anbernic and Miyoo have chosen different paths with their D-pads and face buttons this time. And in summary, Miyoo has opted for much larger face buttons, which not only are bigger but they also feel a bit softer. Additionally, they have chosen to include a significantly larger D-pad compared to Anbernic's RG28XX. And personally, I prefer the larger D-pad and face buttons on the Miyoo, and I appreciate the inclusion of an analog stick for the few games that I will play that require it. You might wonder what the trade-off is here, and well, it's about 500 mAh of battery capacity, as Anbernic has managed to fit in a 3100 mAh battery, while Miyoo has settled for 2600. But let's set aside the comparison for now and instead focus on the Miyoo's hardware. Apart from the large and impressive D-pad, for the first time ever, at least to my knowledge, we have an analog stick on such a small device. And even if this will primarily be a device for games that don't necessarily require it, it's still very nice to see it included for when you want to play some Nintendo 64 and so forth on it. On the other side we have the single front-facing speaker, which can actually get pretty loud. There are also start and select buttons, along with those soft and large face buttons I mentioned earlier. This will ultimately come down to personal preference, but I personally really like them. On the top we have parallel shoulder buttons that get the job done. My only complaint here is the home button next to the L2 button, which I for some reason keep accidentally pressing when reaching for L2. It may not be a problem for anyone else, but at least my brain is too slow to distinguish between them. Next to that button we have the USB-C port and the volume buttons. On the right side we find the power button, which also doubles as the sleep button, and we get a glimpse of the two LED indicators that will let us know the battery and charging status. There's nothing on the left side, but underneath we find the TF card slot for external memory. On the back there's nothing but the logo and some information regarding the battery. It's worth noting though that the battery can explode in the fire. The software experience is what it is. As I mentioned in the beginning, it's easy to use and it will probably suit most people. From the settings menu you can adjust brightness, connect to Wi-Fi and change themes, among a few other things. You can also calibrate your joystick to remove the dead zones, which it was quite noticeably affected by out of the box. However, perhaps most interestingly, you can overclock the CPU directly from within this menu. Overclocking the CPU will improve performance slightly for games like N64 and PSP, but it comes at the cost of shorter battery life and the device becoming a bit hotter. While in a game, the built-in OS has a few pre-configured features as well. For example, if you press R2, the game will fast forward, allowing you to skip through dialogue and other slow sections more quickly. Although this is a RetroArch feature and not exactly a Miyoo feature, it's still nice to see it's functioning right out of the box. The sleep function is a nice feature and most of the time it works great. However, a few times I've encountered some bugs when turning it back on, such as background music playing over the game and other issues that have forced me to restart the game. The game overlay menu can be accessed by pressing the home menu on the top. From here you can save and load states, start netplay for supported games, and of course access the RetroArch settings menu. In the RetroArch menu you can adjust filters, scaling, hotkeys and much more, but that's something we'll have to cover in another video. Emulation on the Miyoo A30 is great. As I've already mentioned, the large D-pad is perfect for all retro games you can think of, and the addition of the analog stick makes playing N64 and Dreamcast games more enjoyable as well. I did encounter a few stutters in some PSP games, but they become playable with the help of some frame skipping. Overall, I'm very happy with the emulation performance on the Miyoo A30. And speaking of overall performance, I don't know if you've heard about the filter issues that other reviewers have encountered, but I'm pleased to report that my device already had these issues fixed upon arrival. However, I'm not sure if this is thanks to Miyoo or today's sponsor, LitNXT, who sent me this device. And to be totally honest, I was ready to criticize the Miyoo A30 on these points because I have heard so much of the issues beforehand. But honestly, I don't think that this handheld has that many problems out of the box. That's probably how it works though. Thanks to early reviews from giants like Retro Game Core, ETA Prime and Tacky, developers get the chance to go back to the drawing board and fix problems before the larger public gets their hands on them. And with that said, I feel confident in recommending the Miyoo A30. If you're looking for the smallest yet comfortable handheld that can still handle games requiring an analog stick, this is a great choice. Its compact size combined with the impressive performance and well thought out design makes it a standout option for retro gaming enthusiasts. Whether you're a casual gamer or dedicated collector, the Miyoo A30 offers a blend of nostalgia and modern functionality that is hard to beat. Please don't forget to like this video if you liked it and comment down below what you think of mini handhelds like this. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already for more content like this in the future. Catch you in the next one. Tech Ravers out.